Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. For those who are online and for those who will be joining us later on Zoom, on YouTube. So let's start with the Kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I would request everyone to do the kirtan, but even if you're not on video, you can continue doing the kirtan. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. While you do the kirtan, please clap your hands, because as you are clapping your hands while doing the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the lines on your hands are changing, the destiny is changing. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, कलयुग पावन हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की जय, जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद श्रील भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। प्लीज रिपीट आफ्टर मी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणम्. Hare Krishna. आनन्दलीलामय विग्रहाय हेमाभ्यदिव्यच्छविसुन्दराय तस्मै महाप्रेम रसप्रदाय चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते. चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते. चैतन्यचन्द्राय नमो नमस्ते. So today last week we discussed about we went into the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. Today we are going further into this introduction of the Bhagavad Gita. We may we may try to split this introduction into Bhagavad Gita into three parts. So today we'll do the second part, and the third part we'll do it next week. Why I'm covering this introduction is it recaps some of the things that we have discussed in the past, and it also touches upon some few new things, just to make sure that okay, whatever as we move into the details of the Bhagavad Gita, um, we are actually capturing the essence, and we are able to um, we are able to build the foundation as we move forward. Okay, so um, if I let me go ahead and share my screen, I just want to remind on where we stopped last week. So when we stopped last week, at that time we were discussing about the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. So does anyone remember what was the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? 2 points that we discussed. What was the purpose of Bhagavad Gita? Anyone, if you want to say, you can unmute and say that. Okay. Um, I think you may remember it, but maybe it's just uh, maybe it's not coming to top of the mind. But this is very, very important. See, the just to remind you, uh, once again, this is in this material world, everyone is full of anxiety because of the material existence. Okay, all tension, and um, and and if someone is asking, like, okay, why am I suffering in this life, and what do I do like after this life? Where am I going to go at the end of this life? These are proper subjects of to make the inquiry. So Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to answer these queries actually. So this apart from this, there are several questions, and we'll get to that. Like, okay, what questions Bhagavad Gita will answer, and why we are studying this Bhagavad Gita? Because see, like if we know the goal, if the goal is very clear in our mind, then in that case we know where we are headed towards. Just to give an example, see, like in the slaughterhouse, the goats are being slaughtered. Okay, but what do they do? They give feed the goats nice grass, and one after the other, the goats are being chopped, and all the other goats are in line. Okay, and what do these goats see? That okay, they see that other goats are getting killed, but they are busy in eating grass, enjoying there. And as they move further, they are also being killed. Now think about it for a human being. If human being like okay, if they are in the line and they are being given nice ice cream, nice nice food to eat, But in that queue, if one person disappears, if they see that okay, they have been killed, will the other persons be interested? Oh my goodness, I don't need the ice cream, nothing. They will just flee away from there. Okay, okay, there is some problem. Okay, I'm being tricked into this. So if you see that way human being has that sense of reasoning as to why like basically to question every person, the human being in itself, like okay, we are trying to reduce our suffering. We actually try to eliminate the suffering at all. If there is any suffering, everyone is trying to find a solution to what is the solution for my suffering. If we cannot find a solution, at least we try to reduce it or minimize it, right? That's the nature of human mind, but that may not be true for all. I mean, animals may not have that kind of reasoning as do the human being have. So for instance, like okay, we talk about this modern technologies. So if there is nowadays it's summer, because of summer, like okay, man invented air conditioner. Okay, since there are some countries where there is very severe cold, so there is heater comes into picture. Like, okay, man invented heater. Okay, if there is there is a problem in moving from one place to another, so man invented car. Okay, so you can move in car like faster. Then you want to move even further, so there is trains, there is flights. Okay, all of these are there. Okay, so man is trying to find, okay, and what is the goal? For everything, like okay, whatever we do, right, there is a goal. Why do you go to a doctor? There's an objective, you want to get cured of your disease. Why do you go to a pharmacist? You go to them to get the medicine, like there is a goal in mind. Okay, why do you go to a teacher? You go to a teacher so that you can learn something. Okay, you don't go to a history teacher to learn maths. You definitely go to a maths teacher to learn maths. So there is always a goal in mind, and that goal is very very keen in where we are headed towards. So with that being said, okay, so this once again, coming back to that particular slide that we talked about. So what is our goal here? Our goal is, we like as far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, like, okay, the goal is that okay, everyone is trying to find out like okay, how, why am I suffering, and where do I get at the end of this, like okay, at the end of this life. So now let's go to the to the next thing. Just give me one moment while I share my screen. Okay, so we talked about this. Now, what is the difference then between the animals and the human beings? Okay, so if you see, animals also eat, we also eat, they also sleep, we also sleep, they also they mate, we mate. Okay, then they also engaged in defending, and we have sophisticated ways of defending. Okay, so then eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, this is common in between animals and in between human beings, right? Okay, so then, and if then, is there any particular difference like between animals and human beings? Are human beings more sophisticated? Like, okay, do they have like, can they do things better than animals? It may not always be the case, but because if you see an eagle, when that eagle flies, at that time they have sophisticated eyes by which they can actually see things which are very very far off. They have telescopic eyes. Okay, human beings don't have that kind of an eyes. If you see horse runs at a speed that human being can't match up to. Okay, if you see dogs have the ability to sniff and find out like, okay, what's going on, right? But human beings can't do that. So these are special characteristics. If you see elephant, think about elephant, like okay, what is the amount of grass that elephant can eat? Human beings can't eat that. Okay, so elephant has such an enormous capacity to eat. Now, if you see polar bear has the ability to sleep so much. It sleeps almost 6 months actually. So human beings can't sleep so much. So if you see, like, and there are so many other examples. So if you see Cuckoo sings so wonderfully. Human beings can't do that. So there are other examples also. Like, okay, like if you say mosquito has like a million children. Like, okay, they give like, okay, birth to so many million children. So if you see like, okay, in terms of uh, eyes, eagle is like top ranker. In race, horse is number one. Like, okay, or there is a jaguar. Like, okay, so like this, there are different species which are qualified in different domains. Okay, they have that kind of a um, uh, that kind of ability, uh, like whether it's sniffing or whether it's running or telescopic eyes, whatever it may be. But does that mean like, okay, there are so many other animal species and they are all specialized with something or the other? Okay, but if they are all related to eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But does that mean animals don't have this rational power intelligence? They also do have rational powers and intelligence. In some cases, animals are better than human beings. If you see, like, okay, you store milk in your house, have the window open, the cat will somehow sniff and come in. The cat will drink the milk. Okay, so they have that logical rational that, okay, milk is out here, let me go ahead and drink that. Okay, leave some food stuff out there for some time, like, okay, and if there is an entry, the mouse will sneak its way in. Right? But so what is the difference, like, okay, between human beings and the animals? So now let's see where the difference lies. Like, we might say that, okay, oh, Western countries, like, okay, there's a lot of material advancement in there. So what kind of advancement is there? We have luxurious houses, but what else is that luxurious houses? Like, it is just good for, like, okay, it is giving comfort, like maybe better ways for mating. Okay, but the other things could be, there could be skyscraper buildings. Okay, that is, those are sophisticated ways of living. Again, it is around like your good ways like for sleeping. Right? That's all it caters to. There are jet planes, which are, animals may have like claws, they may fight with claws, but like we have jet planes, and okay, that's all it is. This is for defending. Okay, then there are latest methods of communications. Okay, we have different ways of communication like there, out there. Okay, this is something that the human beings are able to do. But if human beings are more sophisticated, then how are they I mean, if they just do these things like, okay, in ways like, okay, to eat, sleep, mate, and fight, like, okay, how are they more superior to animals? Right? This is a question that we need to ask, like, okay, does anyone remember that, like, okay, what we discussed earlier in this context? What is that thing that the human being has which is different from animals? What is it that separates a human being from animals?
Intellectual, buddhi.
Yes, but they also have intellect. See, the cat can sniff its way. See, where is it, where is it different?
we have we have ability to control.
We have ability to control. See, they also have ability to control, but see, they have intelligence, we also have intelligence, but the animals can inquire about eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But the humans can inquire about, like, okay, like, why am I suffering? Okay, what is this death? Like, okay, what is beyond this death? This is something that the animals cannot do. Okay, if you put a human being, like, okay, if the person is going to a job, like, they will start thinking, okay, oh, I joined as a team member. When do I get promoted to the next stage? Human beings are starting to think about, like, what is the next level. Now, some human beings, they may be starting to think about the next level only within the life. But the intelligent is but the real intelligence is where people start thinking about, okay, what about the next thing, like, okay, beyond this life. So that's where the difference comes into picture. So human beings, to summarize, like, they have the ability to find out what is the cause of the sufferings, to inquire about the purpose of life, to they have the ability to harmonize the life with God and nature, and they have the ability to target, to attain the eternal happiness. This is something that the animals cannot do, because animals, they generally go by the instincts. So whatever choice we make, that that actually decides where we are headed towards. Okay, for every moment we have a choice, and that the choice that we take, that decides where our destination is going to be. This is very, very important. Whichever choice we are taking, that is kind of determining where we are headed towards. So we could be either promoted to a higher life, or by the right type of inquiry, or if we don't make inquiries, then what happens? We are demoted to lower forms, like animals. Okay, now see, many people, they do not know that this form of life is so rare. It is so rare, like, okay, in 84 lakh species, which is 8.4 million species, human being is most rare. And out of great difficulty, one soul, like, after traversing through the entire, like, okay, all the chain of species, they get a human form of life with great difficulty. Now, if in that human form of life, if they don't make the inquiry, then think about it, like, okay, they are demoted to the lower form of life. So so then again, so that brings us to the question that, okay, that the human beings have the rationale to ask these questions, that, okay, why am I suffering? Where do I go after this life? Why am I in this position? See, because based on where you're based on where you are born, like, okay, that determines quite a number of things, like, okay, you may be born in a family, like, okay, you may be having opulence, or you may not be having opulence. Okay, all these things gets determined, like, okay, based on where you are, right? So let's our focus will be to address these two questions for this particular session. So let's look at, why am I suffering? Okay, you can see this picture here. Okay, so 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 now let's talk about the what are the problems, okay, in the life. What do we consider as the problems? Now, many people may come back and say, okay, I have, like, I do not have a good looking structure, I don't have job, okay, my family member is sick, like, okay, or my family member, they are creating a lot of issues for me, or I am out of money, I don't have enough money. I And then, okay, I failed in an exam. Okay, or someone may say, okay, I don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend. Okay, different type of challenges people may come back with. Okay, they may say, but see, these are, if you look at it that way, these problems keep changing from time to time. Okay. So when a person is young, like, okay, they may come back and say, okay, I failed in my exam, or I don't have a girlfriend. Okay, but then when he gets at a age where he starts looking for a job, like, he says, okay, I don't have a job, I don't have a good job, I don't have a high paying job. Okay, or they come back and say, okay, I have this kind of a family problem, or this person is not giving me attention. Okay, whatever it is, but these challenges are constantly changing. So if these problems are constantly changing, are these the real problems? So, what is a real problem? A real problem is something that is applicable for everyone. Okay, that which does not change. Okay, it is always a problem. Okay, so what are those kind of problems? So those problems, it is kind of, as you said, like, it is common to all. Nobody wants problems. Okay, but these are such problems which no one can avoid, and that is we talked about this. That is Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Okay, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Okay, so this are the real problems. Okay, if you look at it, like, okay, can any of us prevent ourselves from getting old? We can't. No matter whatever we try, we will get old. Can any of us get to a point, like, where we can say that, okay, we don't want disease and we will not get disease? We can't. When disease comes, it will come at its own evident time. Same thing for death. Okay, can any of us evade death? No, we can't. And about birth, see, like, many people did not think that, okay, birth was really problem, because what happened? I am born. But think about it. See, at the time of COVID, because our Shastra says that, okay, when a child is born, for 9 months, that child is compressed in the mother's womb. Just during the COVID, for 2 years, people were at home. People were getting crazy being at home, just being at just one place. Think about it. And here we were having limited mobility. The child does not have any mobility. And depending on what the mother is having, the child experiences pain. Can you imagine what kind of pain that can be? So, so in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying that okay, one who can perceive this birth, death, old age, and disease, they are the real problems, is in knowledge. Wow. This is phenomenal actually. So let us go a little bit into the life of Buddha. Okay, so in Buddha, like, okay, in Buddha's life, Siddharth, as he was called earlier. So he initially at a small age, he was predicted that okay, he might become a renunciate. He might, and so that is why he was not allowed to go out of home. But but at a when he grew up at that time, like one day, like when he went outside with his chariot driver, at that time he saw an old person. He asked, what is this, why is this person like this? So his chariot driver told that okay, that this person, he has become aged. And then he saw one person who was kind of hunchback. Like he said, what happened? He said, this person is diseased actually, so he that is why he became like this. And then he saw someone like okay, being carried on the deathbed actually. So then he asked like, what is this? Then he was told that okay, so this person, he passed away. He was he's no more, he just left his body and he died. And then he asked, then what happens? It's over, like his body's duration is over. Then what happened? Then what? So he had a shocking revelations from that. Okay, this is disease, and who gets this? He got the answer that everyone gets this. Can I get it? Yes, you can also get it. So then he said, okay, this is the end. Then he said, okay, just turn the chariot. And he said, okay, fine. I am go like he then decided that okay, he will renounce everything. Okay, and he knew he wanted to renounce everything because he said that okay, you have opened my eyes. Because if this old age, disease, death, if this is everything, then this is what are we going against? So how can an intelligent person pay no heed at the time of the disaster when he knows he's impending destruction? And that is like, and he said like, okay, this material world, it is no time for time or place for pleasure excursion. Let's get back. Let's get. I mean, I just want to leave everything, and that's how he took uh, uh, he he took sannyas. Okay, so we talked about these four areas. These are very, very grave actually. So if we understand the gravity of how serious these problems are, okay, then we can actually start figuring out the solution for this. So let's look at this first aspect, birth. Okay, so the child being born. Okay, now let me do one thing here. Okay, all right. Can you hear the sound? Is the sound audible? Okay. So see, this is the child in the mother's womb. Okay, in the fifth month, the child feels hunger and thirst. Okay, just give me one moment. In the fifth month, the child feels hunger and thirst. In the sixth month, as the fetus begins to move, and this is directly from Srimad Bhagavatam, as it describes. In the seventh month, the consciousness begins to develop, but as the mother is eating anything, if the mother is having anything sour, or if the mother is having anything which is very hot, the child child suffers. He cannot remain still, but there is no option. The child is put into that difficulty constantly, and the child is unable to come out. The child is deriving the nutrition, but as the mother is having a thing, the child is constantly suffering. It is a residence filled with all worms, suffering intolerable pains. The child is crying out. We have all been through this, bitten again and again by the hungry worms. So just like a bird in the cage without freedom of movement, and the child has to go upside down during the weeks preceding the delivery. Can you imagine? And the child remains lying there, and with its back face turned upside down. So it's a terrible trauma, this birth, as you can see. And the old age, see, we can experience like in old age, no matter how, one may be so good looking, but and one may want to remain young forever, but as the old age approaches, the body starts becoming weak and frail. Okay, I can experience it. Okay, as whatever was the body's capacity 10 years back, 15 years back, 5 years back, it's no longer there. This is how we start fading. Okay, the body starts fading. Okay, and no matter whatever we may look earlier, but the body starts fading, right? It is this is constantly happening for each of us. Every day, every moment, we are growing old. Disease, we cannot avoid disease. Okay, a person who may be like uh, just enjoying the life, like we don't know that at next moment what is awaiting for them. We are just taking moment by moment, but next moment we don't know what is in store for us. And then what to talk about this, like we want to remain healthy, but it's not against our choices. It does not matter what we want to remain, right? We may see people around us, we may see people within our families. It is very, very common, and still uh, we and if we move to the next stage, death, then what to speak about it. So it is said that at the time of the death, it is the person goes through that much pain, which is equivalent to millions of scorpions biting us. If one scorpion bites us, can you think how much pain it will be? But if millions of scorpions bite us, then what kind of pain it could be? Krishna. So that is the situation. That is what, and this, if you see, like there is a it is taken from the Garud Puran actually, which says that like millions of scorpions biting. So that is where Krishna says once again, like, okay, that the birth, that old age, janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam, these are the real problems, okay, for a person who is in knowledge. So uh, now now one may say, okay, but that death, it will come someday, and disease may come someday, but that's not all. Apart from that, in this material world, there are threefold miseries. And what are those threefold miseries? Okay, there are, if you see, due to our own body, we talked about this adhyatmika, adi bhautika, and adi daivika. Okay, adhyatmika is like problems with your own mind and body, and uh, adi bhautika is like problems due to other living entities, and adi daivika is problems due to natural disasters. Now, if you see, We all have this headache, stress, depression, body pains. Some some even get suicidal thoughts. Like these are problems to our body and mind. If we take other living entities, we may be bitten by an insect bite. There could be an argument. There are fights happening with other living entities. It could be someone in family, someone in neighbor, someone at work. Okay, there are someone may be exposed to bacterial disease, viral disease. Like, okay, I know one person. Like, okay, within my family actually. Okay, within within amongst my relatives, one person had a bacterial infection. It became so intense that the bacteria, it caused the person to have meningitis in the brain, and the person went into coma. Okay, you can imagine. Then what to say about animal attack? Many times dogs come and bite. Okay, there are other animals which bite. Then there is theft or robbery, which is due to other living entities. Then there is natural disaster. We keep hearing, you open a newspaper and you will see this tsunami, earthquake, floods, tornadoes, droughts is happening everywhere. That is the nature of this material world. So, so these threefold miseries are called kleshas. And in the hand of Mother Durga, what do we have? What is there in Mother Durga's hand? She has Trishul, and this Trishul has three pointed edges. What is that pointed edges? It is the threefold miseries, threefold kleshas. Okay, and what are those? Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Devika. So that is always attacking every person. No one is no one is separately. Okay, one person may be wealthy, but they are also attacked. Okay, one person may have a lot of fame, but they are also attacked. Okay, no one is barred from this. So that being said, like if you see this adhyatmika, due to this adhyatmika, the teen among teenagers, the suicide rates have tripled in past 25 years. Okay, and what are the causes? A lot of academic pressures. IITs, there are so many people who are committing suicide. Okay, you there are, and then like, okay, there is some cases there's lack of family support. Like, okay, people are on their cell phones. Okay, they don't talk amongst themselves. Okay, and then there is a lot of stress factor. Okay, so this is the nature of the current world actually. So adhyatmika klesha is constantly out there. Now look at adhyatmika klesha. So, okay, in so there is also this is that in the adhyatmika kleshas, there within the body, like if you see like what are the different things. So there can be heart attack. Like, okay, heart attack, if you see, it's commonly happening always. Suicide rates are always there. Like, okay, we see in newspapers so many every day, each and every day you will find something or the other. Okay, and then what to talk about stress? When I talk to many of my colleagues at work, no matter there are some of the CXOs that I talk to, they are constantly being bogged down by stress. Always they are complaining that, okay, there is so much stress. Like, okay, I had a change in boss, and I am in so much stress because of this. No matter the person may be at whatever level, but they are constantly under this particular stress. And now just give me one moment here. So stress is one of the common factors, like, okay, which is affecting ev- everyone in today's time. Actually, this is something to consider. Like, okay, even if you see, like, okay, one person, maybe because many people idolize with, like, okay, popularity, fame, like, okay, these type of things, but that does not matter. Like, okay, even if you see, if one person is very popular, as soon as if someone has too much, then they have the fear of losing that one. If if someone is very materially opulent, then they have the fear of losing that. And if someone is materially the person is not opulent, then they are always lamenting on like, okay, I don't have anything. That's the nature of this material world. Now let's look at Adi Bhautika Kleshas due to other living entities. We talked about all of these actually. So I'll just quickly go through these. Okay. We can see that we are constantly in, depending on the surroundings that we are in. Okay. There are the Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Devika. They're constantly troubling. These are all the pictures of the different natural disasters that are happening. They are constantly they are constantly troubling everyone. So we may have put medical sciences, we may say that okay, there are more things like that has come into picture. But if you see, the diseases have also advanced. Okay, earlier at one point of time, I know when I was a child, at that point of time, the diseases were like typhoid, chicken pox. These were the tuberculosis. These were the type of diseases people would deal with. Okay, maybe flu. Okay, sometimes like there were deadly flus that were there. But nowadays, like, okay, as the science has progressed further, like, okay, we hear more cancer. There were AIDS some time back, as there was a problem for, as there were solution for AIDS, like, okay, now we have cancer, like, okay. And then beyond this, there are so many, like we know that when COVID came in, it was just simple flu, but then there are so many newer and newer diseases always coming in. That's the that's the nature of this material world. So that's where we are in, we are looking at. So there are temporary solutions like, okay, man finds as and when there is uh, you can see like, okay, when there is an old age, when with the white hair, man uses hair dye. With wrinkles, we have this facelifts these days. Okay, if there is a back pain, stomach pain, like, okay, we use painkillers. I know someone very lately like, okay, if someone loses teeth, then they have like, okay, nowadays you can put this artificial teeth, you can have artificial hair, okay, hair implants. So uh, we want to stay young. Okay, we want to be without we want to remain as far as possible, we want to remain without suffering. So if there is breathlessness and death, like, okay, we have a temporary solution for that. So these are there are oxygen cylinders. There is always some or the other things, but that these are all patch-up solutions that cannot really free us up from the suffering. So we have to understand this, that these temporary solutions, whether it's old age, disease, right? It cannot stop the old age. These temporary solutions, they cannot eradicate disease. Okay, and most people, they do not have any understanding of life and death. That's the challenge that we are in. So it is very, very important that if we understand what these problems are, then and then only we'll get very serious about, okay, okay, where am I headed towards? Because if we do not have a GPS, okay, if we are just headed, if someone comes and asks us, okay, where are you going, and we say, I don't know where I'm going. Hey, then they'll say, okay, are you crazy? Or you don't know where you're going. If we meet someone on the train, if we say that, okay, oh, where are you going? I don't know. No, which station you will get down? I don't know. Okay, then you will say, okay, this person is just crazy. But but think about it for a moment. Do we know what is the goal of our life? Where we are headed? If we don't know, then we are also no different from that person sitting on the train or the person who is driving without knowing that, okay, where they are headed. This is very, very important, that we have to know where we are headed. If we know where we are headed, then we can actually, and the good thing is that we can decide where we are going. That's where Bhagavad Gita comes into play. So the material viewpoint is we are bodies made up of matter, and even scientists say that, okay, we are no more than a chemical bundle. Everything is finished at the time of death. I have heard people saying that, okay, and this is the viewpoint of most people, that okay, sab khatam ho gaya. Okay, so when someone passes away, sab khatam ho gaya. Okay, everything is finished, right? But is that the reality? We will see that. Okay. The spiritual viewpoint is that we are not just its material body. We are not just flesh and bones. Okay. We are spirit souls. We are engaged in this material body. Our real identity is we are all spirit soul. And we do not die when this material body stops to function. Okay. No matter who we are, whichever living entity we do not die when this material body stops to function. So think about this. See, our perception towards death itself changes if we understand this. And because we will not be fearful of any situation, we will not be we will not have any fear of any situation if we understand this concept really well. Whether it's job loss, whether it's any situation, any deadly situation, nothing can move us in if we really capture the spirit of Bhagavad Gita. This is the essence. So that's the spiritual vision. So in the spiritual solution, what happens? So Bhagavad Gita says that okay, it says that okay, we are just like the soul, and just like the body is changing dresses, right? Similarly, the soul is changing bodies. So the we change dress every day, right? So similarly, the soul also changes bodies. Okay, and with every time, like, okay, there is a time for change. When the old dress has got when the old dress is no longer good, the body goes into a new dress. That's it. The soul goes into a new dress. That is, it gets a new body. It's as simple as that. And what happens to us at the time of death? So the soul, see, hear this very carefully. The soul leaves this gross body behind. So the body is left. Many people say that okay, this person passed away. Okay, so the body is still there, but they say this person passed away. So what is happening? The soul leaves the body, gross body behind, and it is taken to another womb, okay, of the mother, based on the quality of the desire that had, and because that desire is stored in the subtle body at the time of death, and with that, this person carries on to a different vehicle altogether. Just like, okay, you can see he was in a bike, but he went into a different vehicle. So just like depending on whatever desire he has, he moves into that new vehicle. Okay. So the spirit soul in this way, it keeps moving from one body to another body to another body. And on the basis, on what basis is the soul awarded the next body? It's giving the Bhagavad Gita's reference. It says in 8.6, it says, Krishna is saying, whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail. It's a very beautiful thing, actually. And there is practical realization of this that I can share. Um, there are many realizations around this, but let me share one of the realization. So um, there is there was one person who was working in New York. He was a construction worker. So he was doing this construction job. Uh, I think it was in New York, there are high rise buildings. So he was on 50th or 60th floor, somewhere very high floor. And he was working on the construction work. And somehow or other, what happened is he slipped from the window and he fell down. Okay, from the 50th or 60th of floor. And as he was falling down, he saw that his entire life was going like a movie chip, okay, in a very fast forward mode, okay. And then he saw that there were three demoniac personalities who came to take him. This person is an American, okay, but he saw that there were three demoniac personalities who came to take him. And then he got so frightened. He said, if there is anyone who exists who is God, please save me. In his mind, he in a fraction of second he said this prayer. And as he said this, he got stuck into like, I think in just before he would crash down, he got stuck in one of the hooks and nail, and he got hung there. He did not fall down. Okay. And he had a jacket, so because of that jacket, which was which was very thick, he did not fall and he got hung there. And then he went because he had that shocking experience, right? He he had to be hospitalized. Okay. And he was in coma for some time, and then he came out of coma. And from New York, this person comes to Michigan. And in Michigan, like here, there is one temple where one devotee was giving a class. So he was in Michigan. He stayed at his relative's place, and uh, and he was just being taken care of. But his relatives were gone for work, and after a long time, he decided, let me go out and see what is around. So he was just passing through this, and he saw one board that some uh, Sunday feast or something like that. He saw one thing like, okay, there is a Sunday feast, and he came to this. He thought that, okay, he did not have money. He wanted to have some feast, and he came inside. And when he came inside, at that time, whoever the devotee who was giving this presentation, he was presenting the pastime where of Ajamil, where he was showing the three Yamdutas. And as soon as this person enters, he saw that presentation. He says, I know these three guys. Okay. This is an American. Okay. He enters, he says, I know these three guys. Okay. I've seen them. Then everyone is shocked actually. What is this? They thought, okay, he's some crazy guy. They ask him to sit. And then after the class, he comes and tells this Prabhuji that, Prabhu, I have had this encounter. I was in a near death experience. And later he shares that, okay, this is what happened to me. And all my life went through this flashback. And Bhagavad Gita says that, okay, at the end of the life, everything goes in a flashback, and whatever thing one is most attached to, that picture comes in front. If it is a dog, if it is a cat, if it is like some family member, that picture comes in front, and that becomes the cause for his next birth. That is what Krishna is saying here. So it is very, very important that we know where we are headed. What life are we? What life are we headed to? So we accept one body after quitting another, depending on the desires in the mind and our good or bad karma. Hare Krishna. This is when I heard this, rightly, okay, trust me, when I heard this was the changing factor in my mind. Okay, oh Krishna, this is deadly, because I don't want to get into this circle one after the other. Okay. So this was, and the other thing that I heard along with this is, you can change your you can change your destiny by how you cultivate the desire in your mind. And then the real question arises is how, and that is what Bhagavad Gita is all about. Krishna is training that. So what is the law of karma? We say, we know, right? As you sow, so you shall reap. Like, okay, whatever seeds we have sown, that same thing, like, okay, will be as the fruits come out, we'll have to suffer or enjoy that. So that Newton also says that in third law. In fact, it is kind of from Bhagavad Gita only, that every action has equal and corresponding reaction. So there are different type of reactions. Okay, there could be some instant reactions, there could be some delayed reactions. Sometimes, like, okay, if someone slaps another person or beats someone, there is an instant reaction. Okay. Okay, you smoke. Okay, then obviously, like, okay, with that smoking, your liver is getting damaged. But then when we say delayed reaction, right, the person may not have a lung cancer immediately. Okay, but if the person is a smoker, chain smoker, or if that person may end up having a cancer. He may have a oral cancer, he may have lung cancer, or if the person is an alcoholic, that person may end up having a liver cirrhosis. Okay, so all these different kind of reactions would be there. So some will be instant, some will be delayed. So uh, in this form of life, we have got this developed intelligence to discriminate and lead responsible life. But if one is not leading a responsible life, if one is leading a sinful life, then they have to face the consequences of that, right? If someone is so there is, we talked about this earlier also, that there are these four pillars of sinful life: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. If someone is engaged in this, these are sinful, okay, then they have to bear the wrath of it actually. So if we obey God's laws, if we follow the principles, what are those? Like, okay, austerity. This is, it is called like, okay, satyam, saucham, daya, and tapas. So if a person leads an austere life, okay, then they are peaceful. If the person leads uh, has life like, okay, which is full of sacrifice, then through that sacrifice they get joy within. If the person is developing knowledge, okay, the spiritual knowledge, then through that knowledge what happens? See, if you, even if a person has a job loss, or if a person has a disease, if the doctor tells him that, okay, see, I am giving you this medicine, in 2 weeks you will be okay, or in 3 days you will be okay, by that knowledge they are internally, they are peaceful. So if they cultivate the spiritual knowledge, what to speak about that? It is far more than just the bodily sickness. They will get so much spiritual strength that through that they'll be able to surpass not just the bodily, not just the bodily things, but beyond this body, transcend this into the spiritual world. And then the association of the saints. Okay, by the association of saints, it is said, साधु संग साधु संग साधु संग स- सर्वशास्त्र कॉय लव मात्र साधु संग सर्व सिद्धि होय. So lava matra sadhu sange sarva siddhi hoy. It means that even by the association of a bona fide sadhu, even 1/11th of a 1/11th of a second, that much association of a sadhu is also so much beneficial. Wow. So so if we focus on the principles, or obey the God's law, then what we can get is, we can attain the supreme destination. No birth, no old age, no disease, no death. In short, solution to all our real problems. So that's what that's where, okay, this ABCDE formula comes into picture. Very, very important. A is for association, taking the saintly association. B is for reading spiritual books, the books by Srila Prabhupada. So why Srila Prabhupada? Because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee. If we take if we take Srila Prabhupada's book into our life, then we are, through those books, we are invoking the mercy of a pure devotee in our life. Then by chanting and diet, by having prasad. See now, uh, there is see there is what happens is, when we chant is, we are calling out for the holy name. By calling out for the holy name, we are invoking the mercy of Krishna into our lives. Okay, we will go into detail in this, but as we move along. But I would recommend, if anyone is there who is not chanting, I would recommend that, okay, please start chanting. If anyone is watching this video, I would say this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is so auspicious. Okay, it will bring so much joy into your life, bliss. Forget about, see, one is to come out of our suffering, but we are not talking about coming out of the suffering. We are talking about entering a blissful stage of life. Okay, so it is not just about what happens after this life. Within this life, one person can realize how blissful one person can be. It is a gradual change. As we are taking bath daily to cleanse our body, similarly we chant to cleanse our heart. And our heart has the root of seed of all the propensities to bring us all disturbances. And diet we can look at three levels. See, what is being said here is offering bhoga to the Lord and getting prasad from the Lord. When we offer bhoga to the Lord and get prasad, that diet is far better than any other diet. See, if someone is having is if someone is eating meat, okay, then in that case they are doing grossly sinful activities. Okay, however, if someone is even having a vegetarian diet, even a vegetarian diet is also, Krishna is saying, and we'll get to that. Even the vegetarian diet, also, if not offered to Krishna, that is also sinful. So, but if diet is if the bhoga is being offered to Krishna, then by that offering, we get, because it becomes sanctified food, we start living a karma-free diet. See, think about it. If we have to live a life of happiness, of peace, then what do we need to do? We have to first stop. See, it is like this. Think about this. We have negative points and we have positive points. So we may have already our bad karmas from the past. Okay. So that is, we have already several negative points in our balance. Okay. Till we have the negative points, we can't lead a happy life. Okay. So to surpass that, okay, if we do positive points, the positive and negative will not cut each other. Okay, whether it's positive or negative, we will uh, we will have to bear the consequences for that. But if we are taking prasad, this is a karma free, no positive, no negative. It is Krishnatarian. It is filled with all blessings. Okay, and we'll get to this why positive and negative is bad as we move on into our next stages. But let's go to the next one. The E is seva, engagement. That is serving, having and developing an attitude to serve. If we have a nearby temple, we should serve there. Okay, we should go when we offer our obeisance, we should serve there. If we don't, if we are connected through Zoom, then we should try to see how we can serve. When we start serving, okay, and the service should not just be through Zoom or to temple. If we are at home, we should try to serve everyone around us. Okay, not expecting anything. See, like if we expect something that, okay, oh, when I do this, I'll get something. But try to, it may be initially difficult, but try to have this ability that, okay, I want to serve because inside the heart of this person, there is Krishna sitting, and I want to please Krishna. Okay, we want to do something which is favorable to Krishna consciousness, not like, okay, oh, I want to serve him because he's having a nice non-vegetarian meal. No, not that way, but basically serving in a way that is pleasing to Krishna, that is favorable for bhakti. So so in this way, um, we will slowly get to this, like, okay, as we start accepting this way of life, like, okay, the ABCD method, slowly what will happen is um, we'll be able to gradually be uplifted and we'll move into the next steps actually. So lust, anger, greed would be there, but then, okay, we'll, as we chant, as we take prasad, slowly and steadily, like, okay, these things would be removed from our heart through the association of the saintly people. So here Krishna is saying here that after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Okay, he's telling Arjuna. So anyone, like, okay, as we take to this process, okay, we'll not only become blissful in this life, but we will move out from this temporary world into the highest destination, into Krishna Loka, and that is the highest perfection. So if we want to make this as our goal of our life, then what to speak about it? So and then, like, okay, I want to talk about this one. There are 5 topics being discussed in Bhagavad Gita. We should know this. And for those of you who are hearing this, I would suggest that, okay, you should make note of these points because these are very, very important. GPS, and then, like, okay, what topics are we discussing? What is the topic of the Bhagavad Gita? So this there are 5 topics being discussed in Bhagavad Gita: Ishwar, Jeev, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma. Okay, Ishwar means controller of everything. Okay, even uh, now someone may say, "Arey, I am also controller." But yeah, you may be a controller, but you may be a controller in your home. You may be a controller in a factory. But are you the supreme controller? No, you are not the supreme controller. There is only one supreme controller. All the devtas are also controller. Okay, because there is sun god. Sun god controls the light department. Arey, wind god controls the wind department. Vayu dev. Okay, and then there is Varun dev. He is controlling the water department, but he is not the supreme controller. Supreme controller is Krishna. Okay, so we'll talk about this, how it comes. Okay, then there is Jiva. Uh, uh, Jiva is the subordinate. All the living entities are called Jivas. They are subordinate. They may be small controllers, but the Jiva is not the main controller. Okay, the Jiva is also called the Jiva is also part of Krishna. And the third one is Prakriti. Prakriti means it is the material nature. And the Prakriti, we'll talk about this in our later session, that it has 3 qualities: Sattva, Raja, and Tamas. Then there is Kal. Kal means time, eternal. Time is eternal. And then there is fifth one is Karma. Okay, Karma means, like we talked about, that within this time, like, okay, as Jivas, we have been subjected to a lot of karma, like, from the time immemorial. And and we are, if to the extent we become Krishna consciousness, like, okay, we are trying to live a karma free life. And out of this, can anyone tell, in the spiritual world, okay, there is 4 of these are still there in the spiritual world. Because when the G okay, I'll ask, does anyone know, like, okay, which ones are there in the spiritual world? Okay, that's fine. So the Ishwar is still there in the spiritual world. Jiva is also there in the spiritual world. Prakriti is also there in the spiritual world. Kal is there in the spiritual world. But karma is not there in the spiritual world. Okay, so there is no karma in the spiritual world. Okay, one person gets freed from his karma, like, okay, once they move into the spiritual world. So these are the 5 topics of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we talked about this, and of the different aspects of the living entity. So I'll not go into this more in detail. So so this Kal factor, I want to just tell that, okay, many people, that, okay, they are into building a nice house, okay, but but or maintaining a very nice body, but we don't know that, as in the Kal factor is such that, okay, with time the house will become old, or body will become old. Whatever we are investing in time now, they will all be gone. Okay, whomever we are spending time with me, with us, like, okay, in course of time, they or we may not be there, because Krishna is time, and with time everything is getting dissipated. So that is why, like, okay, we have to understand this, that there is no greater power than Kal. And I want to really appreciate, like, okay, this time that we are spending together, right? This time, none of us will going to get back. And you have invested in such a valuable time, like, okay, hearing Krishna Katha. And although I am not perfect, but these words are perfect, as Srila Prabhupada would say. And these words are the words of the scriptures. These are words of Srila Prabhupada. So these are perfect. I may be imperfect, but since these words are perfect, by hearing this, we all are getting purified. So and then we talked about this karma. So um, we do not know what sort of activities we may have done in the past. And so, sometimes, like, okay, as we get as we progress in our spiritual life, we will have an understanding how Krishna is orchestrating each and everything. So um, now I want to address another aspect, actually. So there is we talk about this mukti, liberation. So so there are different types of liberation, but if we have to understand, the real liberation is when we are actually understanding that Krishna that that our real duty is to actually cleanse our heart, having a pure consciousness. Okay, if our consciousness is not purified, and if it is pervertedly reflected, then in that case we are in the material consciousness. But the spiritual consciousness is where we have the tendency always to serve and please Krishna, always to serve, uh, s- building that servitude attitude. And if we have guru, if we do not have guru, then we can think about Srila Prabhupada, how can I please you? Because as soon as we take shelter of a pure devotee, Krishna becomes very, very accessible, most accessible. So we will learn more about how we can really come out of this bodily entanglement. Why I'm saying entanglement, it's entanglement doesn't mean that okay, we don't care anything about our family. No, a devotee is one who cares more about his family. Okay, who cares not just about his family, but he cares beyond his family. He cares about Srila Prabhupada's family. Okay, a devotee is always more giving rather than okay, what can I get from this person? That is the nature of the devotee. So and if you see in that nature, like, okay, see Hanumanji. Hanumanji served Lord Ram so much that and his only business was like, okay, that he wanted to bring the smile in Lord Ram. And so Lord Ram said, okay, I cannot repay anything to you, Hanuman, and all I can do is I can hug you. And see this divine hug that Hanumanji is getting from the Supreme Lord Sri Ramchandra. So when we develop the pure consciousness, all the activities that we do will be dovetailed with the will of Krishna. That is, if we understand that Krishna's will is, if we dovetail ourselves with Krishna's will, that will make one really happy. Okay, we understand every situation that okay, Krishna is the orchestrator, and we take. But as we move further, we will understand how we have to get to that position. So with that being said, we will stop this here. Is there any question anyone has? If there is no question, then we can stop here. And if there is anyone has any question, then we can take now for 1 minute. Okay, Shamakruna Mataji, yes. Was this hand raised for a question?
Yes, yes. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Dandat Pranam.
Please,
Yes.
what are the five things Ishwar, Jiva, Prakriti, Kal, and Karma? So you mentioned that four of them are present in the spiritual world. Prakriti, the three modes, Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Are they also present in the spiritual world? Uh,
I uh, it's a good question. I have to understand that okay, how they are present, because I have heard that karma is not present. Did you have a different realization? Maybe you can share that.
no, no, because I did not know about it. So I wanted to understand how is Prakriti present, the three modes in the spiritual world.
No,
Because
actually, no, I realized you asked a good question. So, Prakriti, the question that I asked was incorrect actually. So, uh, when I mentioned spiritual world, right, it is not within the spiritual world, but the Prakriti is eternal, okay, not in the spiritual world. Kal is eternal, okay, but the karma is not eternal. It is not within the spiritual world, but it is eternal in general.
Ishwar is eternal, Jiva is eternal, Prakriti is eternal, and Kal is eternal.
Yes, and the jiva is eternal because many, you might see that if there are impersonalists, right, they say that they would say that the jiva would merge with the supreme, but that gives an incorrect understanding, incomplete understanding, and incorrect understanding of the jiva. In this case, the jiva also retains its identity, and the jiva is eternal within the spiritual world, but the prakriti remains eternal, not in the spiritual world, but it remains eternal.
Okay, in this material world.
Yes. And I wanted to, that reminds me, Shamakarunami Mataji, you asked a right question. No, my father asked a right question the last week. He asked the question about Mahajan, and I wanted to correct actually. I mentioned a wrong thing that time. So I did mention that, okay, Mahajan was the greatest of all devotees, but that was not the thing. Like, so Shamakarunami Mataji, she asked, like, okay, about, she asked for some further clarification, and the Mahajans are the greatest authorities in Bhakti. So there are 12 Mahajans, okay, and they are the greatest authorities. I went into Srila Prabhupada, what he has written, and in Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada clarifies, and maybe if I get a chance, I will go ahead and share that in the group. So Srila Prabhupada says that, okay, Mahajans are the greatest authorities. They are, of course, they are great devotees, but the greatest among the devotees are the gopis. So anyone has any other question, any comments? Then we can take that, or we can stop here. Lalukaku, is that your
No questions,
raising?
Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Was this helpful, Vatsal Prabhu?
Yes, very helpful, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. You are very, very sincere. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I really pray for each and every one of you regularly. So may Tulsi Maharani bestow upon all of you wonderful bhakti, and I sincerely request you, please pray for me so that and shower me your blessings as well, so that, okay, I can become sincere in my devotional practices. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam. And in case if I misspoke anything, please forgive me. And if there is any correction or any suggestions that you have or any comments, then please let me know. Does anyone has any comments or any suggestions for improvement? Oh, by
I
the way,
really
oh,
think it
actually, I forgot one thing.